guys, what's going on? So today we're going to be getting to the part that you guys all love, and that is the titanium. Now, we tried to start yesterday, but it was so humid here that it was actually reacting with the argon and the metal and just causing all sorts of problems. So it's a lot less humid today. We're going to get to it, see how we can do. So we're going to weld the flange on the pipe first to meet up with the V-band that we have on the down pipe-ish thing. Yeah. So we're going to weld that on, see how we do, and then if everything turns out good with that flange, then we'll continue on and we'll build the rest of the titanium exhaust. So here we go, guys. Alright guys, so this is a fun setup. We've got our little jig that I just have a V-band welded to, and then just a piece of scrap steel that's welded to so that we can, you know, lock stuff in the vise and mount a V-band to it. And then we have our purge running all the way up top there. And luckily argon's heavier than air, so it'll sink to the bottom and it'll purge this whole weld out for us. And then we're going to get this over on the car and we'll build the rest of it. So here we go. Alright guys, so one of our subscribers actually made a very interesting suggestion. And that suggestion was actually, instead of doing music over top of a time-lapse, that we do a voiceover. And I'm actually doing a voiceover. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to explain to you guys a little bit for this clip, and then we'll just time-lapse the rest of it. But one of the things that we did in this particular video, you can see me having a lot of trouble. Now, the first reason I'm having a lot of trouble is because I literally just had a huge lunch and a lot of caffeine. So I'm super shaky, I'm super all over the place, and that's not making things very easy. So my suggestion is, if you're going to be welding stuff that is anything titanium, stainless steel, or whatever, where you want precision, you want nice looking beads, lay off the freaking caffeine and lay off of a gigantic lunch and then go right to welding. Take a nap, clear your system, whatever it may be, because me getting through this right now is a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. I don't know how I made it through. But what I wanted to kind of touch on in this particular voiceover was the fact that you're going to hear me complain a lot about humidity. And believe it or not, humidity plays a huge factor in welding. And the reason that it plays such a huge factor is because with a reactive metal such as titanium, what tends to happen is, as the argon is coming out of the bottle, it's either going to condense water within the hose itself or the regulator or whatever else may be. So the argon that is coming out of the tip of your torch is going to be semi-contaminated. So you're going to have moisture droplets in it. You're going to have all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's what we were running into. So I was blowing through tungsten left and right. I was, you know, wasn't able to make a clean, solid, zero color titanium weld, and it was just a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. And I thought as the day went on and the humidity dropped a little bit that we'd be better off. Unfortunately, as the temperature started dropping, the humidity started to increase. So by the time we got to the last half that you'll see welded later on in the video, by the time we got to that last half, we were literally at the point where we couldn't get a no-color weld. No matter how much argon we pushed at it, we could not get a no-color weld. And I forgot to show you guys my flow meter, but my flow meter was covered in condensation. So we definitely had a little bit of argon contamination from the weather itself. And not to mention the fact that it was 96 degrees in the shop we're trying to weld, and, you know, it was just rough. And then every now and then a breeze would blow in from outside, and it would blow my argon coverage away, and we'd have all kinds of problems. So if you think for 1 second that this stuff isn't sensitive, it absolutely is. Very, very sensitive. So those were the problems that we were having today, and that's why these welds don't look the best. Now, one other thing I wanted to touch on before this clip is over is you guys see me using these Furic cups all the time, these gigantic cups, the number 12, the number 14. This one that I'm using right here is their new brass insert BBW cup, which is a 16, and the numbers on the cups signify 1/16 of an inch. So a number 12 is 3/4 of an inch. A 14 is, you do the math, 14/16 or 7/8. And the 16 that I'm using here is 1 inch. Now, what that allows me to do is it allows me to stick the tungsten out 1 inch from the edge of the cup. So with that 1 inch, I get a gigantic cone of argon, and I get a gigantic coverage area, which allows me to weld not better, but further. So if I was using, let's just say a number 5 ceramic cup, like, the typical number 5 that you'd use on just about everything, steel, stainless, whatever. If I was using that cup on titanium, I could literally weld maybe 2 spot welds and then have to stop and let the argon flow over, and then weld 2 more spot welds and then do the same thing. This cup actually lets me travel about 1 inch, roughly. Depends. Usually 7/8 of an inch to about 1 1/4 inches is what I can get travel-wise and still keep everything in coverage, in argon coverage. So, if you guys were watching that clip closely, you could see my left hand shaking like there's no business. You can even see it shaking right now. So, yeah. Don't eat a big meal and drink tons of caffeine and then expect that you're going to weld all right. But, yeah, so I would say, you know what? If you're just starting in the welding game, these cups are not a necessity. These cups don't make you a better welder, and as a matter of fact, these particular cups can hide a ton of issues for you. So you could be using too little heat, you could be using too much heat, your travel speed could be too slow, your travel speed could be too fast, and believe it or not, these cups will hide that because the weld will not color in any way, shape, or form that will allow you to determine whether or not your welds are crap. So if you're first starting out, use the consumables that come with your package. The stock, normal, everyday, non-gas lens consumables. The number 5 cup is pretty much your all-around go-to. You can do aluminum with it. You can do mild steel. You can do stainless steel with it. You can do pretty much anything with it. And, if you're looking for a little bit more gas coverage, like on stainless, you can move up to like a number 8 cup. But you do not need these gigantic cups. They will not make you a better welder in any way, shape, or form. The only reason I use them is so that I can actually weld a little bit further. And believe me when I tell you, I have spent all the time in the world learning with just the factory consumables before I went to some of these larger cups. I probably welded for over a year with the stock stuff before I went to these much larger cups. And it helped. It helped a lot because now I know, like right here, for instance, I know that at 45 or 50 amps full pedal, I can weld these 2 flanges, or this flange, to a piece of titanium. I also know that it takes me roughly 35 amps to get full penetration on titanium when it's back purged. Now, I can weld it at 20 amps, and it looks good, but it doesn't fully penetrate. I can weld it on 60 amps, and it looks good, but it over-penetrates and starts dropping out. So this cup will hide all of that. I won't be able to see any of that until the weld is completed, and I either cut it in half to look at it, or in a case like this, just look down the pipe and see that, oh my God, I blew away half the internal metal because I was using too much amperage, but the cup hit it. So, yeah, just use factory stuff. So, all right, we are going to time-lapse the rest of this, guys, and enjoy. We're making progress, folks. So here we go. There's the titanium to stainless transition. Nice little V-band. Best thing about these V-bands, I don't know if you can see up there, but it actually says Morfab. And then we go titanium straight as possible all along the drive shaft here. Then we got some nice pie cuts there, some pie cuts here. And then what we're going to be doing now, you can see kind of the routing of that. It routes exactly with everything else. Perfectly in line. So now all we have to do is we got to build the section that goes from here and goes around and then out to the muffler. So that's what we are going to be doing next. All right, guys, so we're almost there. I wanted to bring you guys back, kind of show you what we did. So you know we got all that stuff welded up and got all that good. There's the slip joint. So right here is where the exhaust is actually going to separate. Now what we did up front is right in this area here is where the factory catalytic converter would have gone. Now we left this area a little bit lower than normal so that we can fit a resonator in here if Adam thinks that it's too loud. So gives us the ability to literally V-band a resonator right here, run another V-band here, and then we can turn this into a test pipe, and then we can put a resonator in between. So if that should come to it and the car's too loud, then we can definitely do that, because these titanium exhaust systems, they tend to get a little snappy. We got all the pie cuts done here, and I kind of saved you guys the welding because it's exactly the same as it was before. Now you see that there is definitely some color in these welds, and unfortunately because of the humidity and the little bit of breeze flowing through the shop and everything else, there was no way to really get that 100% perfect. Now we can polish all that color out of it to make it look good again, but you know what, it's going to color over time anyway, and it kind of adds some character to it. So we got our cross pipe, and again we have, I don't know, about a ½ inch of room there. We still have to weld all this up. We're going to do that probably tomorrow because it's getting late tonight, and yeah, so maybe it'll be nicer tomorrow and we can get a little bit better weld quality, but still looks good. And then our Tycon Industries muffler and dead center. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put a 3.5 inch tip on the end of this thing, which will come out just past the bumper. So it's not going to come out too far. I think it'll look great. We kind of kicked it on a little bit of an angle, and if you can see, it'll kind of match the angle of the bumper. Because the bumper, yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. The bumper kind of goes on an angle that way, so the exhaust is going to match it. But we got this nice little 12-inch Tycon muffler here, and then there's the full exhaust, guys. So let's see if we can kind of get you a shot of the whole thing. So you can see it pretty much goes with the drive shaft, and yeah, not looking too shabby. I kind of wish it came out on that side, but I don't know. I guess coming out on that side is pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of that crossover pipe, but it is what it is, guys. So yeah, there it is. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for today's video. We got the majority of the exhaust done. All the mock-up is there. It's all tacked together. The back half is all tacked together, and it's ready to be welded. Now, the last thing that we're going to do in the next video is we are actually going to position everything. We're going to weld in all the hangers. We're going to weld that finishing pieces up. We're going to put the tip on the muffler, and everything will be good to go. And then, of course, we're going to pull it all off of there. And then, yeah, we got some other stuff we got to do to the car, too. So we're going to take care of that. But, yeah, so the exhaust is pretty much done for the most part. It all went pretty well. The Harbor Freight saw is kicking ass and taking names. The thing works absolutely phenomenal for cutting stainless and titanium with the stock blade that comes with it. So shit, for 200 bucks, it was perfect. But yeah, so Evo 5 is coming along. Exhaust is looking amazing. Hopefully the weather's a little bit better tomorrow and we can get some better weld quality. I was having all sorts of issues with condensation and water, and it just nutty. But yeah, so we're going good. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you liked the video. And tell your friends. You know what? We do this stuff all the time, and some of you find it interesting, and maybe your friends will too. So thanks a lot, guys. I will see you on the next one.
Yeah.